Okay, bro, let's check this muscle up. First time hitting 20 kg, unsure. As always, I'm about the technique, so I would like the review. So, setup is a bit too stretched out. Like, what you have going on here, this 45 plus this 20 would be better. A setup too high is also not good. So, if you like put this box like that, that would be way too high. So, just a tiny bit higher. But actually, like, if it works for you, then there is no reason raising it. I would experiment with the box height, actually. I experimented setting mine lower, and that's actually better. So, yeah. The transition is very weird. Like, you do something, I think it's called a iron wrist transition, that you just continue pressing throughout the transition, which I think is just useless for your joints. Doing more of a like forced transition at the beginning, but then doing more like a jumping onto the bar, like more of a Philip Shawley transition. I think you can also experiment with that. Let me check the transition. So the setup is very good. You have a slight swing, and you get a smaller swing. Like this swing is perfect. But if you let yourself swing, you would end up way more. Look, you are swinging, and you start pulling, but the plate is still going forward. This is most people's mistake. So you start pulling, but the plate kind of wants to go still forward, you know? Well, it can't go because you are pulling. And right now, the center of gravity is like leaned forward too much. Like you are, I don't know if you know what I mean, but if you draw a center of gravity, it will probably be because the weight is here, something like here, and that isn't directly below the bar. So you are kind of like leaning forward, you know, like doing a front lever, and that's not good for the transition because it will swing you back and forward a bunch. But because you manage to do an extreme L-sit, which is very hard to maintain, if you train your abs, it's possible to maintain. But if you, if you load up more weight, like if you're trying to get like a 40 kg muscle up, this isn't very useful, you know. Transition is good. So what I would say is when you swing less forward. So over here, I think that you push the box away from you. Don't push it away. Just like keep it there, the foot. How I do it is that I just let myself swing. You don't need to push or anything, and then you swing forward, forward, forward. In this case, you would already stop swinging at this part, but in this video that you sent me, you still have forward momentum. But in the most optimal technique that I'm trying to teach you, you are already done swinging and you are starting to swing back. This is what you want. You want to swing forward, and then when you are swinging back, that's when you pull. Yeah, you kinda equalized it by doing this. Look, so if you know what I mean, you kinda moved your hips forward, so you mitigated the bad effect of that pulling sooner than the swing is done. Because many people do like the L-seated muscle up, which like it's the most common on competition, which I don't agree. I don't think it's the best technique. Like the most optimal technique, I talked about with Philip Shawley, and it's more like combination of the iron wrist transition and his technique, because in his technique, well, there isn't any transition power. You are just hoping that you pulled high enough in order to execute that transition. But in the most optimal technique, you are able to force it and press it through. So yeah, getting less swing would be beneficial. And yeah, I would say this is applicable on competition. So let me play it again at 1 time speed, because on competition you can't hyperextend and then like do a bunch of movement with your legs. Yeah, this is good, but I wouldn't waste that much time on the top part. Like, boom, set your chest on top, switch your grip and press up. Try it out, okay? So next time, the most actionable action steps are that you finish the swing sooner. You know what I mean? That you don't swing that forward. You have basically the most golden swing for you. For me, this swing would be too much because I'm trying to implement a new technique. But this swing is, I think, perfect for you. The point where you started pulling, you just need to swing a bit less. So this is like the very, very top of the swing, almost already going back. So yeah. What else? The transition. So the pull is very good. You LSID it properly. I think flexing your quads a bit more would be beneficial. Plate positioning, it's very, very good. I think the plate's a bit too small, actually. Plate is very small. It has these handles. I recommend doing it with more of a plate like this. It's like that's just like some more optimized tips. Because if the plate is better, that's generally better. If the plate is like larger, that's why I do, even if I like 15 kg, I don't use a 15 kg plate. If I had a 15 kg bumper plate, I would use that because the bumper plate is bigger. But I use a 5 kg bumper plate as a base, and then I load the weight on top of that. Unless I reach 20 kg, then I grab a big 20 kg plate, which is like the standard barbell, the one that I use. And then if I use like 22.5, I do a 2.5. If I do 24, then I do 24. And if I do 25, I use a big 25. If I do 27.5, I add weight on top of that, you know? So start with a larger base plate. You are better off doing a 5 kg plate like this and a 10 and a 15 kg plate like this than to do one that has like unequal angles and it unequal handles stuff and it's pretty small. So bigger plate, almost always better. Technique, very good. You should experiment with getting less swing and setting your chest, resetting your grip, and pressing up because this is just not good for your elbows. Overall, very good.